So we are back, and let's talk about the New Japan Strong series of tapings that you and I went to.
Right. So it was only one day. It was on Sunday, which is why last week we did the show on Saturday.
Yep.
And it was at Sam's Town, and this was indeed a set of tapings. So we saw a lot of matches, but they didn't provide a lot of card because, of course,
there were a couple
meant to take place over the course of 2 or 3 weeks.
Right. So spoiler alerts ahead, obviously.
Yeah.
But before we get into that, I want to talk about very briefly why Sam's Town is the wrestling place for Las Vegas.
Yeah.
The issue with this is that when they were starting to build their mega casinos, the wrestling scene was still somewhat less, and I think it was just indicative of West Coast wrestling.
Yeah.
It wasn't really anything big here in like Southern California or in Nevada. And a lot of the larger casinos did not want to take the chance with wrestling because boxing dominated Vegas.
Right. And
So
later MMA.
Yep. So Sam's Town, which was one of the oldest casinos right now that still exists, took the chance, found it to be successful within their area because a lot of residents wanted to go there and do that and be at a specific venue. So that's why Sam's Town, even to this day, still does wrestling.
Yeah.
And a lot of places like Impact Wrestling, Ring of Honor, New Japan, all of these companies want to work with Sam's Town because of the reputation that Sam's Town has with wrestling.
Right.
So anyway, go ahead.
Specifically within Sam's Town, there's a small multi-purpose room, if you want to call it that, called Sam's Town Live. Mainly caters to things like proms, quinceañeras. It's just a gigantic.
There's it's like a big there's like a big stage.
Yep.
You can do like venues and banquets and all of that fun stuff.
That's what it's really known for, is a lot of that stuff. That's what they primarily do. But so you have a room with a lot of seats. You have lighting, you have audio. I mean, it makes sense.
Right. You have a place to where there can be monitorization. So there's like a little balcony and stuff on the hard camera angle. So that's right near the doors, too. So that's kind of the setup for this if you've never been to Sam's Town. So let's talk about the card itself. What are your thoughts of this? Was your first experience with the New Japan program?
Very, very fast paced. You know, a lot of just wrestling. You know, I mean, this is what it is.
Right.
It's just a huge wrestling
Also,
show.
please, for the love of God, don't do shows on a fucking Sunday. Some of us have work in the morning.
You know, I think the show itself was fine. The audience, so compared to Impact shows, so Impact will do a lot of like, okay, on the count of 3, cheer, boo, cheer, you know, like that sort of thing.
Right.
They didn't have that ish. They didn't have that in the New Japan show.
I actually really liked that because it felt more authentic.
It did, yes. So when we go to the Impact tapings, because they are just going to be tapings, I am fully expecting cheers, boos.
Right, we're going to have that, and also the physical structure of Autumn Action was very different as well. They had the entrance in the same place. They did it fairly similar to what Impact does, but
it was much smaller. The entrance was much smaller, which is fine.
They didn't have Impact Wrestling puts out bleachers.
Yes.
For people who want to pay general admission.
Yeah.
And that's all well and good, but New Japan didn't do that. No, they literally had the whole space open. You got to see the entire size of the room. And I'm like, wow, Impact Wrestling really condenses what they have into a much smaller area.
Yeah.
So that was kind of weird. And also, what New Japan does is that they have the seats like around the ring, boom, boom, and boom. But then they also had seats that went like into it like a dart.
Right.
Where Impact Wrestling, what they do is that they span it like the whole way across where they are, which I've always thought to be very bizarre. So actually the orientation of what they did actually was more pleasant.
Right.
So I thought that was kind of cool. So anyway, let's get into the matches themselves.
Right.
So he started off with Kevin Knight, who was a LA Dojo guy, taking on Ari Daivari. And it was an okay opener.
Yeah,
I yelled at Ari Daivari that he is a discount Sean Daivari, and he got pissed off.
Yeah, he said, fuck you.
It was really funny. He got butthurt about it. That was really funny.
So yeah, it was an okay match.
It was an okay match.
It wasn't anything to write home about. It was about a 5-minute match.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or Orange Cassidy, thumbs up. They worked hard. I liked I like that they're showcasing some of the people that are training at the LA
of course,
dojo.
'cause that's what New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong is just a showcase of those characters along with some of the more established stars.
Right.
And stars that are not traditionally Japanese focused, if you want to put it that way.
Let's go on to our next match, which was the West Coast Wrecking Crew, which is Royce Isaacs and Joel Nelson taking on Gregory Sharpe and Jacob Austin Young, who was very popular within that crowd. So I thought that was very interesting that, there are established people in there. So I'm assuming that Sharpe, Nelson, and Young are maybe even people who went on excursion. They have a gimmick now from the LA dojo.
Yeah.
So, once again, a decent little match. Nothing to write home to mom about. I thought it was a good showcase to establish some people for the tag belts.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
it was a Death Valley driver on the knees for the West Coast Wrecking Crew to win. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to give an Orange Cassidy thumbs up. So, JR Kratos, and it was Danny Limelight, but I wrote down a washcloth for some reason, so I'm going to call him Washcloth from now on.
Okay.
He looked horrible. He looked like he was wearing a washcloth. So, they go out there to challenge Aussie Open for the tag team champions.
So at this point, this is when, this is where the whole taping thing comes into effect. So they did the challenge, and then they did the actual match on the same night. Part of me thinks that these are going to take place on 2 separate weeks of television.
Right.
Because
given the amount of matches, who was in them, and the pacing of the said matches, it really leans into that it's going to be a multi-show
at
thing.
At least 2 weeks worth of tapings happens.
Right. Easily. Yeah. So let's go on to our next match. They challenged for the tag belts. It was a nothing. I thought it kind of broke up the general flow of the show, but that's just me. I wasn't a big fan of it. Doc Gallows taking on Che Cabrera. So this is where one of the matches had to be changed around because Eddie Kingston couldn't be there because he got COVID. Yep. And then I think another person had to leave due to personal reasons. Right. So they left out of the card, and this is kind of what happened. Doc Gallows was going to be in the main event. So it was a swinging neck breaker for Doc Gallows to win. Sure, it was a whatever match, to be honest with you, but given the circumstances, it was fine.
Yeah, it was fine.
Just kind of it was kind of there. Yeah, and Orange Cassidy thumbs up would be nice. Let's talk about Fred Rosser and Chris Dickinson. Now, this is where we had a rivalry going into this match. Yeah. And I was a bit surprised that Chris Dickinson was on this show at all, given his current situation on suing the people that accused him, a la Joey Ryan, which I thought was interesting. But you know what? He's doing that. Whatever. Right. He looked good. Yeah. I will say I do like the rivalry with Fred Rosser. Yeah. This is giving the strong openweight champion some legs and a rivalry for people to go after. Right. So that was good. I thought they structured the match well, and given the rivalry, it was exciting. Yeah. I thought it was a very exciting match.
Thumbs up.
I did too. I thought it was really good. Fred Rosser, obviously Darren Young back in the day, and he looks pretty good. I like him. I like his fire. I like his theme song a lot. Yeah. I thought the theme song was cool as shit. And also very popular. He was probably, he got one of the bigger pops of the evening. Yeah. So awesome. Christopher Daniels and Yuya Unima.
Man, I like that guy.
Unima?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like him too. He's very good.
He is.
Christopher Daniels, man, I don't know what he is. So it was really funny. He's like, I am the king of San Francisco. And I said, even though you're from Kalamazoo, Michigan, he is from Kalamazoo. And a lot of people got a kick out of that. It's like, how are you the king of Los Angeles? You're not even from, like, you're not even from here. And I know he got a little peeved about that, which was a lot of fun.
It was.
I do like this because they were in the tournament for the strong openweight tag team champions.
Yes, and I think this was my favorite rivalry going into it. I really liked it. It really showcased Yuya, which was really good.
Oh yeah, he got a decent babyface pop. The match was very well paced. I thought it was fine. Christopher Daniels still playing a heel, had a post-match. This is a perfect place for Christopher Daniels.
Yes.
Because given his experience and given everything, this is a great showcase for him.
Right. And
not only a great showcase for him,
right.
a good pacing for him, but also to really give some of these younger guys like Yuya an opportunity to really grow and work with a guy who has so much experience.
Right, exactly.
So,
I'm gonna give this a thumbs up.
I do too. I thought it was really good. I liked the post-match. I liked that Yuya won with a roll-up, kept Daniel strong, but also gave Yuya the victory, which was always good. Sorry, taking a drink. Let's talk about a match I actually had a graphic for because it was a match that did not change. So we have Ren Narita taking on Juice Robinson. Robinson did a pre-match attack, busting up Ren.
So the capsule that they use for the blood is just everywhere.
So was it a capsule that they used?
It was. I believe it was a capsule.
Okay,
it just got everywhere. It was all over his face.
It looked really good. It looked very good visually.
It did until you realize it's like, okay, this is a little much.
Right. Now here's the
blood,
thing.
Fainting.
Right. Here's the thing with that and the fact that it was like a brutal bloody attack.
Yeah.
And then they restarted the match with a no disqualification stipulation.
Right. Which is interesting because Japan.
I loved it. Such a breath of fresh air, man.
And in New Japan though, they traditionally do not do.
But this is their American version of that. So I think that's actually a fairly good dynamic, and especially given how long the show was, this was a great breakout from
the Monday.
Right.
And here's the other thing too, and I think the reason that they have the seating the way they have the seating is because that's more of a Japanese style of a seating arrangement. So
right. No, I thought this was
take with it what you will.
Right. This was a good match, though.
Yeah.
I thought these two worked really well together. They paced it really well.
Yep.
Given it being a no disqualification, they used quite a bit of weaponry, which I was very happy about.
I'm gonna give it a thumbs up, though.
I am too. I really liked it. It was a modified arm breaker submission thing for Ren to win, so he got good babyface fire, too.
Yep.
Very happy about this overall. Let's talk about our next match, which was Shota Unimo and QT Marshall, who was just hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
He really, interacted with the fans quite a bit, and his comebacks were just on point, man.
Yeah, they were.
Very good. The match itself was good. I liked it.
Yeah.
It was a fun match. I said this in my regular reviews a couple of weeks ago about QT Marshall and how good this guy is. And seeing him live,
he's one of those veterans, though. He doesn't. He's there to enhance the younger talent, which
right.
he did masterfully.
Oh yeah, he did a very good job doing that. It really put over the double arm DDT that Shota's doing now. Very good, well paced, lots of fun. Full thumbs up from me. I really like this match. Kind of a sleeper match, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, it was. That was definitely a sleeper match.
All right, a match that I was personally looking forward to, which was Alex Zayne and Mistico taking on Blake Christian and Mascara Dorada.
It was about what I expected, a lot of high flying.
A lot of lucha, and once again, you had one more technical, a hardcore. You got to have a little lucha in there.
Yeah.
And I thought they did pretty okay with it.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a thumbs up.
Yep, I liked it. I thought it was paced very well.
Yeah.
It's awesome seeing Mistico wrestle. When I saw, actually, this was like I said, this was the match that I was looking forward to the most because I'm a big fan of Mistico.
Yeah.
So when I saw that, I'm like, we have to get tickets to this.
Yes.
And I'm very glad that we did.
Yes.
I just wish
we'll give our full review after we're done with all the matches.
Right.
There were a lot of matches on this card.
There were quite a bit, which is kind of leaning into the thing about it being a taping.
Right.
But yeah, no, I thought it was a well-paced match overall. It was a top rope flipping slam thing for Mistico to pick up the victory for his team. Good respect, lots of good fire.
Yeah.
Everybody played their part really well, and they gave it a decent amount of time. Good match overall. Full thumbs up for me. I just liked it. Let's talk about the strong tag team title match, which was Aussie Open and Team Filthy, which was Kratos and Danny Limelight or Washcloth.
So again, this is where I said, okay, these are tapings that are going to take place at least over 2 weeks because they're not going to have the Open Challenge and the tag team match on the same night.
And especially given on how far apart they were.
Right.
Because keep in mind, that was like the third segment in the show, and this is like the 8th or 10th.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of what that was. It was a good match.
It was.
Kratos is a big guy. Yellow is not his color, though.
No.
He looked like Ronald McDonald coming out there. It was not a good color
Not
combo.
a good color.
But I thought that the match itself was good. Aussie Open, very popular with the crowd.
Oh, yeah.
I will say that.
Aussie Open is one of my new favorite tag teams.
Yeah, they're a great tag team.
And, of course, they're also part of my favorite faction.
Right, United Empire, who are just on a roll with pretty much everything right now. So they were very popular with the crowd. It was the Coliosis, I think that's how I pronounce it, but whatever, for Aussie Open to retain. Lots of fun. I thought the story within the ring was good.
Yep.
Maybe if we watched a little more strong, I would have gotten the rivalry between Team Filthy and the Aussie Open, but I think I got enough information to at least enjoy the match for what it was.
Very enjoyable.
Full thumbs up. Yep, absolutely. Let's talk. Okay. This was my favorite match of the night.
Tomohiro Ishii is so small.
Okay, so Tomohiro Ishii looks a lot bigger on television than he does IRL. He is very small, but Filthy Tom Lawler, being from Vegas, huge babyface pop. The Daisy Dukes tights were funny. I thought those were pretty funny. But overall, this was a pretty good match.
It was.
Very good back and forth. Obviously, Tom Lawler is a MMA guy, so he didn't have to really... he could pull back the punches on Ishii, but Ishii is a tough son of a bitch, so he really kind of faced it well.
This was like a good 15-minute match.
This was one of the longer matches, and I'm glad it was.
Yeah. They certainly put on a good clinic.
Oh, yeah. But Ishii won with a lariat. I thought that was a interesting decision.
I'm going to still give it a thumbs up.
Oh, absolutely. I'm going to give it a full thumbs up. It was a very good match, but it was just that final one. Let's talk about our next match, which was Rocky Romero and Shingo Takagi. Yeah. This was a good match, too. It
was.
Shingo, very popular with the crowd, and he played more of the heel, too.
He did.
Now, Shingo is a lot bigger in person than he is.
Then he presents himself on TV.
He's a bit taller. Yeah. Like, he's very tall, and he's very top-heavy. He's a very bulky guy, top-wise.
He is, yes.
So... but they wrestled very well. Rocky Romero, despite him losing, he did not look weak in defeat.
No.
Really good babyface comebacks, really good overall. I thought the pacing of it was well. And like you said, this was when we got longer. So 10-minute match, would you say, give or take?
I think it was between 10 and 15 minutes.
Yep.
I think.
And it was Way of the Dragon for Shingo to pick up the victory. Gets a full thumbs up from me.
Full thumbs up.
Really liked it.
Yep.
And now let's go into our main event, modified. So I don't have a picture. Which was Jay White and Karl Anderson taking on Homicide and Wheeler Yuta. This was a good main event.
It was.
People were... so it was really funny. There was a moment where... Because they were playing to the crowd. Jay White was yelling at Karl Anderson to squeeze because it was in the headlock.
Right.
So when they turned it around, the entire fan base was like, squeeze.
It was definitely a squeeze fest.
Oh, it was
pun fully intended.
Oh yeah. This was probably a 20-minute match.
It was. It was about 20 minutes.
And it was a good 20 minutes.
It was a good 20-minute
very
match.
Very well timed, very good paced. Lots of fun. You know, here's the one thing. Wheeler Yuta's kind of, I would say, controversial figure on how he is. He's actually very good live.
He is.
He's also really funny. I don't think he really shows a lot of that emotion on television, and I think it's disappointing. Yeah. I'll be honest with you. He really made a fan out of me. Homicide, very good veteran. Yep. Obviously worked around with some really good people.
Yep. And then after the show, let's talk about the win and then give our rating.
It was a Blade Runner for Bullet Club to win. It gets a full thumbs up from me, definitely. And then there was Filthy Tom Lawler and everybody go out there to close out the show. Yep. They attacked the baby faces a little bit more.
Yep. So Jay White is going to be challenging Eddie Kingston at AEW's Grand Slam. So we'll see him again very soon.
Yep.
And otherwise, it was a great way to end the show. Of course.
So
Bullet Club did leave the ring, gave the gave the ring essentially to Filthy, Tom Lawler, and the rest of
Team Filthy, because obviously he's from Vegas. Right. So I thought that was a good way to end it. We were pretty much out the door by then because we didn't really have like a full dinner, so we were starving.
Yeah.
So we went directly to get food right after the final match.
Now there weren't a lot of people at TGI Fridays.
I know, it was very unusual.
Only Riccaboni and
Alex Kozlov.
That's right.
The English commentators.
The English commentators who were there, of course, because it was for tapings. Otherwise, it was a great show.
It was. I really liked it. Overall, I'm going to give it a full thumbs up.
Give it a full thumbs up.
I would have given it 2, but I will say one thing.
They should have done it on Saturday.
Yeah, they should have done it on Friday or Saturday. We would have been a lot happier.
Yeah.
Just overall, if they did it at a different time. It was just way too late on a day where it was like, I mean, by the time we got home, it was pretty much midnight.
Yeah.
So we were like, oh my God, I'm tired.
Let's go to bed.
Right. So we did.
Anyways, great show. Was it worth the money? Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
100% worth the money. Will I recommend this to friends? Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, it was good.
If you want to see some good Japanese wrestling without traveling to Japan, NJPW Strong is a pretty good bet.
Oh, absolutely. You're going to get a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
You had some Japanese stars there, so you got a little bit of that strong style. We had some hardcore. We got some lucha. A very diverse little taping there.
Yeah.
And it entertained me pretty much from bell to bell.
Yeah.
We did have an intermission in between too, so that was good. I like it when they do that intermission.
Yeah.
So you can, use a bathroom and all that stuff.
Before the big matches, they go and clean the ring and all that stuff.
Right.
So.
Well, especially after the no disqualification with all the blood. So there you go. Anyway, so next week
there is a pay-per-view TBD, but we have to do some more research on that.
I don't think it's a pay-per-view because there is a Burning Spirit tour, and that just happens to be the last one. And they always do a much larger show.
Right.
It doesn't really matter because I'll be honest with you, we have 2 next month.
Right.
We have Royal Quest, and then we have Declaration of Power, which is another. Those are 2 pay-per-views, and those are both in October.
Otherwise, it's a pretty open next week. So there isn't a lot going on, but we'll let you know what we decide to do.
Yep. So if you did enjoy this, remember to like, follow, subscribe. Let us know in the comments wherever you're listening or watching us on. Become a patron. I updated everything, so we have new perks, we have cool stuff. I'm going to get merch released soon. I just have to play around with it just a wee bit more, do a little more tweaking, and get that up so you guys can do that. And as always, be majestic.